Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are wading into waters that I think make even the most confident people sweat a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
We aren't talking about quantum physics,
Right.
and we aren't talking about ancient history. We're talking about the corporate world.
Right.
Specifically, we are doing a deep dive into the often terrifying, nuance-filled world of business English.
It is a massive topic, and frankly, it is where the stakes feel the highest for language learners. You know, if you are on vacation and you order the wrong sandwich because you mixed up chicken and kitchen, it's funny.
Right, it's a good story later.
It's a travel story you tell your friends later. But if you are in a boardroom or a salary negotiation and you use the wrong phrase or you miss a cultural cue, the consequences aren't funny.
Not at all.
They are financial, they are professional, they are very, very real.
Exactly. And that is our mission today. We want to take the listener, maybe that's you right now, commuting to work or sitting at your desk, from being a nervous English learner who's afraid to speak up in a meeting to being a confident corporate communicator.
A huge goal.
It is. But we have a huge stack of sources today. I mean, we're looking at vocabulary lists for office equipment. We've got detailed guides on email etiquette, scripts of workplace conflicts. Some of them are actually quite dramatic, and strategies for negotiations.
And what I love about this particular stack of sources is that it highlights that business English isn't just about grammar. It is not just about knowing the difference between past tense and present perfect, though that helps.
It certainly helps.
It's about nuance. It is about psychology. It is about the specific vocabulary that keeps the office running.
Right. It's the difference between sounding polite and sounding pushy. It's about understanding all those unwritten rules.
Precisely. It's about knowing that I'm afraid I can't do that is a polite no, and we should discuss this later, might mean I hate this idea and I never want to talk about it again.
Actually. Okay, so it's a code. And just to tease what is coming up, we have some really specific, relatable scenarios. We are going to talk about why you should never, ever sign an email, Mrs.
Oh, this is a huge one.
We are going to discuss how to tell your boss you are overwhelmed without looking weak.
Yeah.
And my personal favorite, we have a story about a guy named Henry who didn't brush his teeth. And believe it or not, there is a profound business lesson in there.
It is a surprising lesson on team building, actually. One of the most unexpected case studies I've ever seen.
I can't wait to get to that one. But we have to respect the timeline. We can't talk about the corner office before we even get into the building.
Got to start at the beginning.
We have to start at the beginning. Before you even get the job, we have to talk about the gateway, the job interview.
The dreaded interview. The moment where judgment is passed.
The dreaded interview. And looking at our sources, particularly from Mr. English and Derek Callan, the number one theme that keeps coming up is preparation. But not just look at the website. It feels like everyone knows they should look at the website.
No, it has to go deeper than that. The sources emphasize that research isn't just knowing the company name or what the CEO's face looks like. It is about being able to answer the question, why do you want to work here? With specificity.
Right. You can't just say, I need a job.
You can't just say, I need money.
Even though, let's be honest, that is true for everyone. We all have rent to pay.
It is true, but it is not the right answer for the room. That answer makes you a mercenary. Companies want to feel special. You need to connect your values to theirs.
So how do you do that?
For example, if they are a tech company, you don't just say, I like technology. That's way too broad. You talk about your passion for their specific technology.
Give me an example.
Something like, I've been following your development of the X500 processor, and I'm fascinated by how it handles thermal regulation. It's really groundbreaking.
So you are proving you've done the homework. You are stroking their ego a little bit, but you're also showing technical competence.
Exactly. Or if they have a green mission, you talk about how you value sustainability in your own life. It shows you care about them, not just a job. It shifts the dynamic from, please hire me, to here's why we are a good match.
And then comes the question that I think trips everyone up. You sit down, you've done your research, you're ready for the technical questions, and the very first thing they ask is, tell me about yourself.
The tell me about yourself trap.
Why do you call it a trap? It sounds so friendly. It sounds like an invitation to chat.
That is exactly why it is a trap. It masquerades as small talk, but it is actually the opening statement of your trial. People think it is an invitation to tell their life story.
Right. They go off on a tangent.
They start talking about where they were born, their childhood, their cat, their love of pizza.
I was born in a small town. I have a cat named Mittens, and I love pepperoni.
Exactly. And the interviewer is sitting there thinking, that's charming, but how does this help my marketing team sell more widgets? The sources are very clear here. You need to focus strictly on your work life. This is your professional elevator pitch.
Okay, so how should you structure it? Is there a formula?
There's a pretty good one. Think past, present, future.
Past, present, future.
Okay.
So, I have a degree in logistics and 5 years of experience in supply chain management. That's the past. Currently, I am leading a team of 10 at a distribution hub. That's the present. And I am looking to bring those efficiency skills to a larger organization like yours. That's the future.
Boom. Concise. Relevant, professional. Keep the hobbies for the lunch break after you get the job.
Precisely. Unless your hobby is relevant, like you are applying to a sports company and you run marathons, keep it in the vault.
Okay, let's unpack the next big hurdle, the tough questions. And there's one that is just, infamous. What is your greatest weakness?
This is where people usually panic.
Boom.
Or they try to be clever and it backfires.
Or they lie. They do the humble brag. They say, I'm a perfectionist. Or I work too hard. I care too much.
And the sources explicitly warn against this. Derek Callan's material points out that saying, I'm a perfectionist, is a massive cliche.
Recruiters must hear that 100 times a day. They hate it because it sounds fake, it sounds rehearsed. And frankly, being a perfectionist can actually be a bad thing in business. It means you might be slow. It means you might miss deadlines.
That's a good point. So if you can't lie, can you tell the brutal truth? I'm lazy and I hate waking up early.
Definitely not. You cannot disqualify yourself. So that's out.
So what is the middle ground? Where's the sweet spot?
The expert insight here is to choose a real but small weakness, something that isn't a deal breaker for the specific job. But, and this is the key, you immediately follow it up with the action you are taking to improve it.
Can you give us a concrete example of what that sounds like?
Sure. Let's say you are applying for a job that involves some presenting, but it's not the main focus. You could say, I used to be a bit shy in large groups, which made me nervous about public speaking. It's something I identified as a growth area for me.
Okay, so you're being honest.
Right. But then you add the action part. However, I realized this was holding me back. So for the past 6 months, I've been actively practicing speaking up in our weekly team meetings to get more comfortable. I've even volunteered to present a few times.
I like that. It turns a negative into a positive trajectory. You aren't confessing a sin. You are demonstrating a growth mindset.
Exactly. You are showing that you identify problems and you fix them, even within yourself. That's a huge plus for an employer.
Now, speaking of positives, what about when they ask about your strengths? Why should we hire you?
This is where you use the STAR method implicitly. You don't say the word STAR method, but you use the structure.
STAR, S-T-A-R. Break that down for us.
Situation, task, action, result. It is a framework for storytelling. Most people just list adjectives. I'm organized. I'm a team player. I'm hardworking.
Which means nothing, because anyone can say that.
Exactly. It's evidence versus opinion. With the STAR method, you prove it. You start the situation. In my last job, our team's project tracking system was a real mess. Things were falling through the cracks.
Okay, so you set the scene.
Then the task. My manager asked me to find a way to organize our workflow so we could find information and meet deadlines more reliably. Then the action. So I researched a few software options, got buy-in from the team, and implemented a new digital tagging system using Asana.
And then the big finish.
And finally, the result. After a month, this new system reduced the time we spent searching for documents by about 20%, and we haven't missed a deadline since.
That is so much more powerful than just saying, I'm organized.
It paints a picture. It puts the interviewer in the movie of your success. It's tangible.
Now, another stressor mentioned in the sources is the question, how do you handle pressure? Because every job has pressure.
Right. And again, the worst answer is I never get stressed.
Yeah, right.
That's not human. And if you say that, they will think you are either lying or you just don't care enough to get stressed.
So they want to hear about your coping mechanisms, your process.
Exactly. They want to know your process. The sources suggest explaining your strategies. Do you make lists? Do you prioritize tasks using something like the Eisenhower matrix? Do you take a deep breath and break the project down into small, manageable chunks?
So you're showing them you have a system.
They want to know that when the building is on fire, you look for a fire extinguisher. You don't just scream.
I make a list and I prioritize. That sounds solid. Okay, so you have navigated the tough questions. You are nearing the end. You need to close the deal. The sources talk about the best candidate pitch. What's that?
This is your summary statement. Usually at the end, there's a moment to wrap up. You say, based on our conversation, I believe I am the best candidate because, and you recap your top 3 selling points.
So you connect the dots for them.
You connect your skills, your experience, and your passion directly to the job description. It is your final argument to the jury.
But then the awkward part, the part I hate, money.
Mm.
What are your salary expectations?
Ah, yes, the high-stakes poker game. The advice here is to be flexible but prepared. Don't just give a single fixed number if you can avoid it, because you might lowball yourself, or you might say a number so high they laugh you out of the room.
So you give a range, like between X and Y.
A range is better. Or, even more sophisticated, is to say you are open to discussing the full compensation package.
Full compensation package. That sounds very professional.
It signals that you understand that money isn't just the paycheck. It's health insurance, it's vacation days, it's bonuses, it's retirement matching. It shows you are looking at the big picture and that you're a serious candidate.
And finally, the interview is over. They ask, do you have any questions for us? Do you say no?
Never say no. That is the golden rule from our source material.
Yeah.
Never. Saying no signals a lack of engagement. It signals that you just want to leave.
Even if they answered everything, even if they've been talking for an hour.
Even if they gave you a 3-hour presentation, you have to ask something. Ask about the daily tasks. What does a typical Tuesday look like for the person in this role?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or ask about the team's future. Where do you see the department in 5 years? It shows you are already picturing yourself in the role. You are mentally moving in.
Okay, so you have crushed the interview. You navigated the traps. You asked smart questions. You got the job. Congratulations.
Yes.
Now we move to part 2, the first week.
The onboarding phase, the honeymoon period, or sometimes the shock period.
And this is where reality hits. You have paperwork. The sources mention things like application forms and contracts, but there is a specific one that sounds serious. The confidentiality agreement.
Yes, often called an NDA or non-disclosure agreement. It is crucial to understand this. It isn't just a formality you sign and forget.
It's legally binding.
It means you cannot share company secrets. You can't go home and tweet about the new product they were developing. You can't tell your friend who works at a competitor about your company's marketing strategy.
You can get sued for that.
You can get sued and you will definitely get fired. It's about trust. They're letting you into the inner circle.
And often, before you even get the full permanent contract, you are on a probation or a trial period.
Right. One of our sources mentioned a 2-month trial period. Think of this as an extended audition. You have the job, but not really. The company is watching you closely to see if you actually fit.
That feels like a long time to be on your best behavior.
It is standard in many corporate cultures. It is a safety net for the company. So during those first couple of months, your etiquette needs to be absolutely flawless.
Let's talk about that etiquette. Punctuality seems to be a big one in the English Cactus source, like a really big deal.
Absolutely. In English-speaking business cultures, especially in the US, UK, Canada, time is money. The rule is strict.
Yeah.
Be on time. If the day starts at 9:00, you are there at 9:00, not 9:05.
9.05 is late. Really?
9:05 is late. It sends a message that you don't respect your colleague's time. And pay attention to lunch break rules. Is it an hour? 2 hours. Don't assume. Just because the office is empty doesn't mean you can disappear for 3 hours.
Okay, now, here is a cultural shift that confuses a lot of people. Names. I mentioned earlier the Mrs. issue. One of the biggest shifts the sources highlight is the move away from formal titles in modern offices.
It is a huge cultural shift, especially for people coming from more hierarchical cultures in Asia or parts of Europe or South America, where titles are how you show respect.
Right. You would say Director Smith or Mr. Jones. It would be considered rude not to.
But the sources note that in many modern English-speaking offices, specifically in tech or creative industries, you use first names. Even with the CEO, you walk in and say, "Hi, Sarah," not Mrs. Sarah or Mrs. Jones.
That can feel so unnatural if you are used to showing respect through titles. It feels rude.
It can feel incredibly rude. But here is the nuance. Using a formal title when everyone else is using first names can actually alienate you. It makes you seem stiff. It makes you seem like an outsider who doesn't fit the culture.
So how do you know what to do? You don't want to make a mistake on day one.
The advice, and I think this is brilliant, is listen first. How do they introduce themselves? If she says, "Hi, I'm Sarah," you call her Sarah. Simple as that.
And if you're still not sure,
If you are really unsure, just ask, "How would you like me to address you?"
that's a great line. How would you like me to address you? It puts the ball in their court.
Exactly. It is polite, respectful, and clears up the confusion immediately without you making a mistake.
Now, here is a debate that came up in the source material regarding working hours. We have a story about a character named Lucy who works late every single day.
Poor Lucy, the burnout candidate.
She stays until 8 or 9 p.m. She thinks she is the model employee. But then we have the English Cactus advice that says a job is a marathon, not a sprint.
This is the eternal conflict, burnout versus sustainability. Lucy is trying to prove herself by staying late. She thinks hours worked equals dedication shown.
In some old school companies, that might still be true.
It might. But the expert advice suggests that modern smart management is shifting. They understand that tired workers make mistakes. Rest actually aids productivity and creativity.
So working late every night isn't necessarily a badge of honor anymore.
Not anymore. In fact, in some highly efficient companies, if you're working late every night, the manager might think, why can't Lucy finish her work during the day? Is she inefficient? Does she have time management issues? Do we need to give her more support?
Oh, that's a twist. So staying late might actually make you look bad.
It can. The healthy approach, and the one that leads to long-term success, is to do your work efficiently and go home to recharge. You need to last for years, not just burn out in 6 months trying to impress people.
I love that. A marathon, not a sprint. Now, visually, let's navigate the space. You walk in on your first day, you get the grand tour. What are we looking at? What's the vocab?
Well, you need to know your geography. You will hear terms like open space, offices.
Which are everywhere now, for better or for worse.
Everywhere. No walls, just desks grouped together. Supposedly great for collaboration, but terrible for privacy and noise.
And cubicles.
The classic. Those little partitioned boxes. The gray maze, as some people call it.
And crucially, the pantry or break room.
Knowing where to get coffee is priority number one on day one.
Absolutely.
That is the social hub of the office. That is where the real networking happens, by the coffee machine.
Priority number one, absolutely. Okay, so you are settled in, you found the coffee, now you have to communicate. And in the modern world, that means email. So part 3 of our deep dive is a master class in written communication.
And this is where the nuance really matters. In person, you have body language, you have tone of voice, you can see if someone is smiling.
Right.
In an email, you have nothing but text. One wrong word can change the tone of an email completely from friendly to aggressive.
Let's go back to that Mrs. versus Ms. rule. The source was very specific about this, almost aggressive about it.
It was emphatic. In a professional context, if you are writing to a woman, you should always use Mrs., pronounced Ms.
Always.
Always. Never Mrs., unless she has explicitly told you to, like if it's in her email signature.
Why is that? Why is Mrs. so bad?
Because Mrs. defines a woman by her marital status. It says, I am a wife. Miss implies I am unmarried. Miss is neutral. It just means I am an adult woman. Just like Mr. is for men. We don't have a title for married men versus unmarried men.
That's true. Mr. covers everyone.
Exactly. So using Miss creates equality. It is the professional standard. Using Mrs. can feel old-fashioned or presumptuous or just completely irrelevant to the business at hand. Her marital status has nothing to do with her ability to analyze a spreadsheet.
What if you don't know who you are writing to? Like you are emailing info@company.com. You don't know if it's a man or a woman.
Then you use the classics, Dear Sir, Madame, or To Whom It May Concern.
Those sound a bit robotic, a little stiff.
They are a bit formal, but they are safe. And in business communication, safe is better than offensive every single time.
Good point. Okay, let's move to the body of the email. You don't want to just bark orders. Send me the file. That's rude. How do we soften it?
You need a friendly opener. Something like, I hope everything is going well, or I hope you had a good weekend.
It greases the wheels of communication. It's a bit of small talk before the business.
It acknowledges the human on the other end. It takes 2 seconds to type, but it changes the vibe of the entire message completely.
And then you state your purpose. Clearly.
Right. I am writing in connection with, or I would like to inform you about. Clarity is key. Don't make them guess why you are emailing. Get straight to the point after the friendly opener.
And then we have a grammar rule that I think confuses a lot of non-native speakers. The difference between enclosed and attached.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a relic of the paper age that has stuck around and causes confusion.
Tell us.
Enclosed is for physical letters. You put a letter in an envelope and you enclose a check or a document inside the envelope with it.
Okay, that makes sense.
In an email, there is no envelope. You attach a digital file to the message. So you should always say, please find attached, or I have attached the report. Never, I have enclosed.
Unless you are physically mailing a package to the office.
Correct. But in 99.9% of your business communication, which is email, you stick to attached.
Got it. And for the closing, how do we sign off without sounding like we're writing a love letter or a legal summons? Yours faithfully sounds like I'm pledging allegiance.
Yours faithfully is very, very formal, usually for when you don't know the person's name. Sincerely is also quite formal. The gold standard, the one that works in almost every situation, is best regards.
Best regards.
It is professional, it's friendly enough, but it's not intimate. It works for your boss, it works for a client, it works for a colleague. It is the pair of khakis of email sign-offs. It goes with everything.
Well, laughs at the khakis of sign-offs.
I love that. And if you want to be proactive, you want to reply.
You use a call to action like, I look forward to hearing from you.
And I want to pause on the grammar there. I look forward to hearing, with the ing.
Yes, this is a super common mistake.
Because usually after to, we use the base verb. I want to go. I need to eat. Why is it to hearing?
This trips up so many people. In this specific phrase, look forward to, the word to is a preposition, not part of an infinitive verb. And after a preposition, if you use a verb, it must be a gerund, ing.
So it's like, I'm interested in learning.
Exactly. The to functions like in or at. So, I look forward to the meeting, noun, or I look forward to meeting you, gerund. It is never, I look forward to hear.
That is a crucial tip. Look forward to hearing. Memorize that one, folks.
Absolutely. Burn it into your brain.
Okay. Email is mastered. Now let's talk about real-time communication, part 4. Verbal judo. Meetings, telephones, and the art of small talk.
Verbal judo is a great way to put it. You have to be agile. You have to react in the moment. Let's start with small talk. I know some people hate it, especially in business. They think it is a waste of time. Why are we talking about the rain? Let's talk about the Q4 budget.
I hear that complaint a lot. But the sources, particularly Derek Callan, argue that small talk is the foundation of relationships. It breaks the ice. It isn't actually about the weather. It is about signaling.
What are we signaling?
You are signaling, I am friendly, I am human, and I am safe to talk to. If you jump straight into business with no warm-up, you can seem cold or transactional or even aggressive. Small talk builds the trust that makes the business part easier and more successful.
So what are the safe topics? You probably shouldn't talk about politics or religion at the start of a meeting.
Definitely avoid politics and religion. No. Weather is the classic for a reason. It's raining again, isn't it? It's universal, it's safe, everyone experiences the weather.
Travel is good too, right?
Travel is great. Did you have any trouble finding us? Or how was your flight? It shows concern for their comfort and their journey.
And traffic, the universal complaint.
Traffic is universal. Everyone hates traffic, so complaining about it is a bonding experience. The 405 was a nightmare today. Oh, tell me about it. Instant connection.
And there's a specific phrase for when you finally meet someone you've been emailing for months.
Yes. It's great to finally put a face to the name.
Put a face to the name.
That is a power phrase. It acknowledges the history of your digital relationship while celebrating the physical meeting. It instantly warms up the connection and makes them feel recognized.
I love that one. Okay, let's step into the meeting room. We have agendas, the plan, we have minutes, the notes, but the hard part is interrupting. How do you interrupt someone without being rude? Because sometimes you have to.
This is tricky, especially in English where we value turn-taking. You can't just shout, stop!
So what do you say?
The sources suggest using entry phrases. Phrases like, sorry, may I ask a quick question? Or, could I just jump in for a second?
Could I just jump in? I like that imagery. It sounds less aggressive.
It implies you are entering the flow, not stopping it. You are acknowledging the interruption while taking the floor. It is polite assertiveness.
And if you are lost, if everyone is using acronyms and you have no idea what is going on, do you just nod and smile and hope for the best?
Don't fake it. That's dangerous. You might agree to something you don't understand. Instead say, I'm not sure everybody follows, which is a clever trick.
Oh, that is clever. You are pretending others might be lost to save face.
Exactly. You are being the brave one who asks for clarification for the group. I'm not sure everybody follows. Could you explain that last point again? Or more directly, what exactly do you mean by ROI in this context? Asking for specific clarification.
Now, the telephone. I feel like phone anxiety is a real thing, especially in a second language. You lose all the visual cues, you can't see them smile, you can't see them nod.
You are flying blind, and bad connections make it 1,000,000 times worse.
What do you say when the line is bad? When you can only hear every other word?
You need specific vocabulary for that. The most common one is, you're breaking up.
breaking up.
Not you are broken. People are not broken. The signal is breaking. You're breaking up implies the connection is cutting in and out. Or you could say the reception isn't very good.
And if they're speaking too fast, I feel like native speakers often forget to slow down.
They do. It's a common problem. You need to be firm but polite. A great phrase is, "I'm afraid I didn't quite catch that."
I'm afraid.
It is a code. It softens the blow. It means, "I am sorry, but," it frames the problem as your issue. "I didn't catch that," which makes them want to help you by repeating it, usually more slowly.
And spelling. Names can be a nightmare over the phone. Is that B for ball or D for dog? M for Mary or N for Nancy?
This is where you can really sound professional. The sources recommend using the International Spelling Alphabet, also known as the NATO Phonetic Alphabet.
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. That one.
Exactly. T for Tango, Y for Yankee, S for Sierra. It eliminates the ambiguity instantly. If you say, "My name is Smith," that's S for Sierra, M for Mike, I for India.
You sound like a pro. T for Tango. I need to memorize that list. It sounds cool too, like you are a pilot.
It adds a level of professionalism that B for Banana just doesn't have.
Hey, B for banana. Okay, we are going deeper now. Part 5. We need to understand the structure of the beast, the corporate hierarchy, and the vocabulary of the departments.
This is the skeleton of the business. You need to know who holds the power and who does what.
So we have the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, the boss. But who are the BOD? I see that acronym a lot.
The board of directors, they're the ones the CEO reports to. They represent the shareholders, the owners of the company. They can fire the CEO.
So the CEO isn't actually the king of the castle.
No, the board is the kingmaker. The CEO serves at their pleasure.
And then we have headhunters versus recruiters. Is there a difference? They both hire people.
Often used interchangeably, but there is a nuance. A recruiter is usually an internal employee. They work for HR. They fill open slots that the company has. A headhunter is usually an external mercenary.
A mercenary, that sounds dramatic.
Well, they are hired to hunt for specific high-level talent. Often, they call people who already have jobs and try to convince them to leave their current company to join a new one. They poach talent.
Coaching, like stealing an egg.
Exactly, stealing an executive. It's a much more aggressive form of hiring.
And the departments? We know HR, human resources. What about R&D?
Research and development, that is the laboratory. That is where the new products are born. The scientists, the engineers, the innovators.
And quality control, QC.
They make sure the products actually work before they are sold. They test everything. They are the gatekeepers of the company's reputation. A bad product gets out, QC gets the blame.
Let's talk about money again. Salaries. There is a distinction that shocks people when they get their first paycheck. Gross versus net.
The painful lesson.
Yeah.
Every adult remembers the first time they saw this on their payslip. Gross salary is the big, beautiful number in your contract. You will earn $50,000 a year.
Which sounds great. You start planning your life around that number.
But net salary is what actually hits your bank account. After tax, after Social Security, after health insurance, after pension contributions, the difference can be depressing.
Very depressing. Where did 30% of my money go?
The government took it. That is the lesson of gross versus net.
And then there are incentives. Commissions. What's that?
That's for salespeople. You sell a car for the company. You get a percentage of the sale price as a reward. It motivates them to sell more.
And bonuses?
That's for achievements. The company had a good year. Here is an extra $1,000 for everyone as a thank you. Or you hit a specific target.
And hazard pay?
Mm-hmm.
I hope I never need that.
That is extra money for dangerous work. Construction, mining, handling toxic waste.
Hopefully in an office job, you aren't getting hazard pay.
Unless the office coffee is really, really bad. Or the boss is known for throwing staplers.
Or if you work with Henry in his toothbrush situation.
Exactly. That might qualify as an olfactory hazard.
We also have different types of leave. Maternity leave for new moms, but the sources also mention parental leave.
Which is more inclusive, and you're hearing it more and more. It covers fathers, it covers adoptive parents. It reflects that modern culture shift we talked about. Using parental leave instead of just maternity leave makes you sound current and aware.
And finally, the office objects. The things on your desk. Binder clips, stapler, whiteboard marker, correction pen.
It sounds basic, but vocabulary is power. If you are in a meeting and you need to ask for a paper clicker thingy instead of a stapler, people will look at you funny. Precision matters.
Do you have the click-clack machine?
Exactly. Just say stapler. It builds credibility.
Okay, let's move to part 6. This is where it gets really interesting. We are going to look at workplace scenarios. These are case studies from our sources that teach us valuable lessons through stories.
These stories really bring the vocabulary and the concepts to life.
Let's start with case study 1, the project launch. This is Alex's story.
Right, so Alex is a new grad at a tech company called Innovatech. He is young, inexperienced, and suddenly he is given a daunting challenge.
Daunting, that's a good word. Means it's scary.
It means scary and difficult. He has to lead a major product launch with only 1 month to prepare. Most people would crumble. They'd panic.
Talk about pressure. Thrown in the deep end.
High pressure. But look at his strategy. He didn't just panic. He didn't just work late every night like Lucy. He did thorough research. He understood the market inside and out. He used interactive online content to engage the audience.
And he created a compelling narrative.
Compelling narrative. That is key. He didn't just list the product specs. He told a story about why the product mattered to people's lives.
And the outcome, how did it go?
The campaign went viral. It spread across the internet. It received unprecedented engagement.
Unprecedented. That is a great business word.
It means it never happened before. It broke all previous records. And because of this groundbreaking success, he didn't just get a pat on the back. He got a promotion to lead a whole new division.
Wow. So what's the lesson here for us?
Yeah, the lesson is, don't hide from the hard projects. Taking on a daunting challenge is the fastest way to prove your value and get noticed. Alex ran toward the fire, not away from it.
Now, case study 2 is a bit spicier. This is Lucy versus the coworker.
The conflict scenario, the office drama.
So Lucy, our hard worker from earlier, gets a promotion and a 15% raise after only 6 months. That is incredibly fast.
Very fast. And naturally, a longtime employee, let's call him the veteran, gets jealous. He has been there for 5 years. He goes to the boss and asks, "Why her? I've been here longer. I have seniority."
This is the classic tenure versus results argument. I've paid my dues.
It is. And the boss's answer is the key takeaway. He tells the veteran that while he is responsible and does his job well, he hasn't brought in new profit or new achievements like Lucy has. Lucy brought in new projects. Lucy brought in money.
So the lesson is, just sitting in the chair for 5 years doesn't entitle you to a promotion.
Tenure does not equal promotion. Results equal promotion. It is a brutal lesson, but it is the reality of a performance-based business. You have to show your value, not just show up.
And finally, case study 3, the one I promised. Henry's bad day.
This one is from the Jessica source. It is hilarious, but also really touching.
So Henry is usually the energetic guy, the office cheerleader. High energy. But one day, he is silent. He won't talk to anyone. He is hiding in his cubicle.
And the colleagues start speculating. Did his girlfriend dump him? Was he robbed? Did he lose all his money in the stock market? The rumors are flying. They are genuinely worried about his mental health.
They are worried. So they confront him. They go to his desk and ask Henry, "What's wrong? Are you okay? You can talk to us." And what is the big reveal?
He woke up late and forgot to brush his teeth.
He forgot to brush his teeth.
He was too embarrassed to open his mouth because he thought his breath smelled. That was the whole crisis.
That is amazing. But what is the business lesson here? Is the lesson buy breath mints?
Well, yes, buy breath mints. That's a good practical takeaway. But the deeper lesson is about team chemistry and emotional support. His colleagues didn't ignore him. They didn't just let him suffer in silence. They checked in. They offered support.
And when the truth came out, did they make fun of him?
They laughed with him, not just at him. It shows that a good team supports you, even when your problem is something as silly as dental hygiene. It highlights the importance of psychological safety in a team. You can be vulnerable.
That is heartwarming. Check on your quiet colleagues, people. Maybe they just need a mint.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to part 7, advanced skills. You are not just surviving the office, you are leading it. We're talking presentations and negotiations.
This is where you level up. This is executive-level communication.
With presentations, the sources talk about signposting. What is that?
Signposting is giving the listener a map for your talk. If you are driving a car, you need road signs. Turn left in 200 meters, destination ahead. In a speech, signposting is using phrases like, "First of all, I'll talk about X," moving on to the next point, which is Y, and to conclude, I'd like to summarize Z.
It tells the audience exactly where you are in the speech so they don't get lost.
It prevents them from getting lost or zoning out. If you just ramble for 20 minutes, they will lose focus. But if you say, moving on to my second point, their brains wake up and re-engage.
And when you are showing those charts, visuals,
you have to lead their eye. Don't just put a graph on the screen and stare at it in silence. Say, as you can see on this graph, or this chart highlights the increase in Q3 sales. You have to explain what they're seeing and why it matters.
And Q&A strategy. What do the sources say about handling questions?
Set the rules early. You are the captain of the ship. Do you want them to interrupt any time? Say, feel free to interrupt me with questions at any point. Do you want silence until the end? Say, there'll be plenty of time for questions at the end of the presentation. You control the room.
Now, negotiations. This is the heavy lifting, the high-stakes stuff. How do you start?
You start by establishing a procedure. You agree on how you are going to argue before you start arguing. Let's agree to look at the timeline first, and then we can discuss the budget details.
And then you state your position clearly.
Right. Our main priority is to ensure the quality is high. Or, if you have to push back, I'm afraid we can't agree to that timeline. Note the politeness again. I'm afraid.
It softens the blow of saying no.
It turns a conflict into a constraint. I'm afraid I can't. Sounds like I want to, but something is stopping me, whereas a flat no just sounds like I don't want to. It keeps the conversation collaborative.
And when you're stuck, when neither side will budge.
You look for the compromise. You have to signal that you're willing to be flexible. You ask, would you be willing to accept a compromise? Or maybe we can meet halfway.
Meet halfway. I like that idiom. It's very visual.
And finally, when it works out, it looks like we have a deal.
And always, always, always.
Let's get this in writing, the most important phrase in business.
A verbal agreement isn't worth the paper it's not written on.
Exactly. Memories fade. People change jobs. Contracts don't.
Without a doubt. We are nearing the end of our deep dive, Part 8, Learning Strategies in Personal Development. How do we actually keep getting better at this? We can't listen to a podcast 24 hours a day.
The sources offer some great practical tips for immersion. One is immersion via technology. Change the language on your phone, your tablet, your computer to English.
That is bold. That sounds terrifying.
It is for the first few days, but it forces you to learn the functional vocabulary you need every day. Settings, privacy, notifications, cancel, confirm. You use your phone hundreds of times a day. Make it a teacher.
Another tip is strictly environmental. Label things in your office.
Literally put a sticky note on the stapler that says stapler. Put a note on the computer screen that says monitor. It looks a bit silly, but that visual association is incredibly powerful for memory.
And socially. How do you practice?
Find the foreign colleagues. Every big office has expats or people from other countries. Join clubs. Don't eat lunch at your desk alone. Use that break time to practice in a low-stakes environment.
If you make a mistake talking about football at lunch, it doesn't cost the company money.
Exactly. It's the perfect training ground. It's a safe space to fail.
And thinking about the future goal setting, why is that important?
You need to be able to describe your ambition. If you can't, no one can help you achieve it. Phrases like, I want to become an expert in my field, or I'm looking for new challenges to develop my skills. If you can't articulate your goal, you can't ask for it in a performance review.
And the dream job.
The source, Miss English, mentions talking about your dream job, like traveling the world teaching English. It helps you articulate where you are going so you know why you are suffering through the grammar drills today. It provides the motivation.
So what does this all mean? We have covered a massive amount of ground. Interviews, emails, phone calls, negotiations, dental hygiene.
We have. If I had to summarize the takeaway from all these sources, it is this. Business English is about more than just words. It is about clarity, politeness, and relationship building. It is a tool to solve problems, not just a list of vocabulary to memorize.
It is about connecting with people, whether you are negotiating $1 million deal or just asking where the coffee is.
Precisely. It's about human connection in a professional setting. That's the core of all of it.
Now, I want to leave our listener with a provocative thought. Remember, Alex, from our case study.
The daunting challenge guy, the new grad who got the big promotion.
Exactly. He was faced with a daunting challenge, and he ran towards it. He didn't hide. He didn't complain. He refined his strategy, and he succeeded.
Yeah, he leaned in.
So here is the question for you, the listener. What is the daunting challenge in your current English journey? Is it picking up the phone to make a call? Is it speaking up in a team meeting? Is it finally asking for that raise you deserve?
Identify the fear. What's the thing you avoid?
Identify it. And ask yourself, are you hiding from it? Or are you refining your strategy like Alex? Because that is where the growth is. The real progress is on the other side of that fear.
That is a great question to reflect on. The obstacle is the way, as they say.
And remember, as the English Cactus source said, your career is a marathon, not a sprint. Keep learning every day.
Keep going. You're doing great.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We will see you in the boardroom.